Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Ride. I'm excited to announce season 2 of our series, kicking off with today's episode featuring Kip Turner. Obviously, with season 2 starting, we have to leave season 1 behind. We haven't had a show in, I think, about 6 to 7 months, and I'm really looking forward to continuing these, obviously. But season 1, really special. Was able to talk with 12 amazing guests. When I first started this channel, I knew it was something I wanted to build and foster over multiple years. I wanted to talk with some of the greatest minds in lacrosse and provide value for those looking to grow themselves and the game we love. I feel like we did accomplish some of that in season 1, but I'm looking to continually improve that experience for you guys as we move into kind of the next evolution of this channel. So today's discussion with Kip Turner, obviously fantastic. He's a 2-time national championship winner back-to-back with Virginia. Really had a great discussion breaking down Virginia's rise as well as the 2025 season. We know there was a lot that was going on with them last year and really wanted to get down to the nitty-gritty with Kip. So we had a little discussion on that, goalie development, as well as specialist development. He, obviously developed the likes of Peter LaSala, was able to see a ton of different goalies in his time at UVA and Brown. Jack Kelly comes to mind, one of my favorite goalies. We had Matt Nunes, obviously, at UVA. So, yeah, really good stuff. It was a great conversation. We got into his work also at One Play, where he's basically developing these high school athletes and trying to, consult them on their next step as they make their way towards college. So, really great conversation. As always, enjoy the ride. All right, Kip, welcome to the show, man. Appreciate you joining us. I'm excited to have you. Thanks for joining on today's episode, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Zach?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's just a first episode in quite some time. I know the listeners are going to be happy we're getting back after it, man. But, speaking of getting back after it, you're doing something here with One Play. Again, it's fall scrimmages, fall practice, and all this is going on. Do you miss being out there on the practice field, man? You did it for so long. Last time we saw you were on the UVA sideline.
It's a loaded kind of question, but I miss it, but I don't miss it as much as I thought I would at this moment, because I'm still doing it. I'm doing it in a different way. I'm doing it in, it's in a really fun way with high school kids, and sort of helping kids get to that college level and helping develop and helping with mental performance and all these different things that One Play provides, which is really like, it's the same thing as coaching, right? Like if you're coaching a team of Virginia guys or, some different high school kids around the state or the country, you're still getting that fill, which is cool. Granted, I don't think I'm going to win a national championship this year by any means, but I still get the fulfillment in so many other ways just by being able to kind of dial a kid in the way he needs to be dialed in. And that was whether I worked for Virginia or didn't work for Virginia.
Yeah. As far as Virginia goes, man, you got a lot of guys still on the team that you were coaching. So if they, pull it off in the next couple of years, I think you can claim some credit.
I'll claim some credit. I still talk with those guys like all the time, and it's great. Like I still have tons of good relationships within the team of guys I recruited. I mean, last weekend I worked with some of the face-off guys. I'm watching film with the goalie this week. Like I'm still involved at some level just because I want to help out wherever I see fit or wherever I can.
Yeah.
And I don't have a disconnect to the program. It's not why I left.
Gotcha. We're going to get inside the lines and do some X's and O's talk, some player development talk. But as far as that decision, take me behind the reason. You were coaching at Brown. You were obviously at UVA for so long. What was the reason behind the decision? And then what are you doing now with One Play as far as like getting down to the specifics?
Coaching is a lifestyle that's not for the faint of heart, as many people may know. And my focus just it shifted a little bit. It shifted into, I have a wonderful 8-year-old daughter named Harper and a 2.5-year-old, almost 3-year-old son named Tide. And that needed to be a little more of my focus. And I felt like I wasn't around them as much as I wanted to. And yeah, that was mainly it. And obviously there was some things, there's obviously some things that you can have frustrations with within the program or, you know, at UVA and how things sort of unfolded. But like there's going to be frustrations every year, no matter what. And that wasn't the reason. And honestly, we just happened to have a bad year
Hmm.
and I left. It
Gotcha.
wasn't, it wasn't cause and effect. Um,
Yeah.
I'm thankful for Lars. I'm thankful for Virginia. I'm thankful for all that, like the experience that I had, like Coach Cassis, Coach Kerwin coming in, and like all the guys I've ever coached with there. Like it was awesome. Like it was such a good run. Like clearly we had a decent run,
Yeah, you
and
did.
2 national championships was pretty sweet. But I was like, well, do I keep striving for it and become a head coach? Or do I get involved in another way? And I had actually been just talking with Mike Mabry, who is the head of One Play Development, and we'd just been talking for a couple of years because I just was so interested in the sports psychology piece of all of it, and that's something that he really hones in on and focuses on, and focuses on how to be a great teammate. How do you do all these things to make yourself better? And I really was like, wow, I want to know about that. I want to dive into that a little more. Like, am I doing it the right way? I think I am, but I'm not sure.
Mm.
And Mike's already taught me a decent amount, along with some others that have joined and are part of the company. And what One Play really is it's a mentorship program through lacrosse. That's kind of at its base root level, that is what it is. And you're taking a whatever-year-old kid and you're just trying to make them a better version of themselves,
Hmm.
whether that's getting them through college, to college, through college, doesn't matter. But you're just be like, all right, what's the best possible outcome? Let's get to that.
What age group are
And
you primarily working with these guys?
primarily high school.
Okay.
I think maybe one middle school guy, and the
Okay.
rest are high school. But
Is this remote or are you actually like on location?
most of it is like I have clients in Texas, California. Most of it is remote, but the local ones are local and we'll train and we'll go to work. Like I also work with teams. I work with WNL, Washington and Lee over the mountain here. I work with Western Albemarle. I work with some of the St. Anne's Belfield guys. Like so, like locally, I just get to work with some of these. We'll call them recruits, a lot of them, and then even
Sure.
college players. So I get like the benefit of working with a lot of different kids, which is cool.
And what are these kids primarily when they come to you for the first time? What are they lacking that you guys provide, other than obviously having that mentorship and saying, "Hey, we look, I've been through the process 100 times with 100 different kids. Here's my experience. What are you guys offering those potential people for those that might be interested, even listening right now?"
Yeah, it's funny. It's like every story is a little different, but it's like they don't know what they don't know. What's common knowledge to me is foreign to them. A parent that might be one might be a doctor and one might be shuttling kids around all day and stay at home, but like they don't know what they don't know. They're not in the mix of the job I used to do. So my job is to help that guide them and sift through certain things. What's really important, one for their kid, and honestly how to in some ways save money
Hmm.
by like there's a million things you can do out there. Like what are the right things to do? Like what's the best plan of attack? And am I setting myself up or setting my son up for success? And so that's like those are the questions that we always ask ourselves, and I ask my clients. And yeah, it's a really cool process, and it's funny. Like some of the questions they ask, I'm like, wait, what? Are you crazy? You're thinking about doing that?
There's
No. It's like what?
you're right that there's like a million and one ways to you spend your money in lacrosse. There's camps, prospect days, all of these different things that you can spend money on. I don't want to necessarily reveal the secret sauce or get behind the scenes, because obviously you guys are offering that as a service and things like this. But for those of you people listening, what's maybe one thing that you could offer them as advice when it comes to their recruitment process?
It's like twofold. The grass isn't always greener on the other side, one. And then two is just don't sell yourself short in the fact that you're like maybe not in the best place or not in the best spot for this recruitment. Like, trust the process a little bit and understand that, like, if you're good enough, they will hunt you down. Trust me. That's the best thing. And the recruitment period, and the what I'm going through right now is like the period of recruitment, it doesn't end.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this like it's like the cute girl on September 1st, like, okay, all those go to the wayside, but does that mean anything for 2 years from now in college when everybody's body's different and everybody looks different and everybody plays differently, and some kids get better, some kids stay the same, some kids get worse, some kids have injuries, some guy grows 7 inches in those 2 years, who knows? But
Yeah,
it doesn't it just doesn't matter. But I like get it. Like, do we know who the best kids are in the class? Sure. Do we are the college coaches pretty right on? Yeah. And Inside Lacrosse's ranking they're pretty good, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
But it doesn't mean that little Joey from middle of nowhere, North Carolina, isn't going to be one of the best players in the country in 2.5 years that nobody ever heard of.
you see that very high profile on the football side of things, right? Where you get these real like 5-star recruits that end up doing nothing. Sometimes they flush out of the school just based on off the field things, and then you get guys who weren't even ranked or 1-star, 2-star, and they're just the superstars 2 years from now. So I'm interested, man. Like, we're talking a lot about recruits and high schoolers. How much attention did you guys give transfers at UVA?
Oh, we gave them lots of attention, of course. Um, I think there's a market for that in all of this world too. Like, should I transfer? Should I not? Like I said before, the grass isn't always greener. Um, it's just like it's such a tricky thing. It's like, well, if you're not going to play here, what makes you think you're going to play here? And we see that for football, right? So again, you chose a place for a reason. Why are you now trying to go somewhere else?
Mm.
Are you going to make the same mistake again? Um, Now, with that being said, like, yeah, I mean, that's a whole just another thing in this
Yeah.
world of lacrosse and sport as the NCAA sport as it is today. It's just everybody's just like everybody's got to easy out. Everybody can do whatever. It's kind of like the wild, wild west. It's like the NIL, the transfer portal, like all these things have given more rights to the student athlete, which is in some ways great. But in some ways, like I'm thinking of myself as a parent, and I'm like, well, when you commit somewhere and you don't you want to honor that commitment and follow through with it, and like you just want to be careful not to kind of go to that transfer place too often because now you got team dynamics that are changing. Like you see basketball, like there are new teams every year,
Yep.
places where and I'll talk about our school, for example, like Tony Bennett was a basketball coach here forever, and it took a year or two, maybe even longer to learn the pack line defense. If people are just going to transfer in and out places like that, it wasn't for him, and he left coaching.
Mm.
So it's a different world that we're living in, and it's a little frustrating because it like in some ways it's just like go to the highest bidder. It devalues college sports. It devalues some of the things, and I'm talking more basketball and football.
Sure.
That's not happening in lacrosse, but it is. It is happening in lacrosse,
Yeah.
just not with the number of zeros.
Yeah, Mark, our mutual friend, we talk about recruiting a ton, and one of his words that he likes to say is like you have to choose the right school for you, not just the right lacrosse environment and all this stuff, because so many other things go on. And I'm sure, being at UVA for so long, that was a super easy sell. Regardless of the lacrosse, you're going to an amazing university. It's a great environment. It's a great atmosphere. So even if lacrosse isn't working out, I mean, you can graduate from a great university. But when you guys look back at your recruiting process throughout those years, when you had the really good recruiting classes, what does that mean for a coaching staff, and how did you guys pull that off? Is it just extra work? Is it getting lucky? Is it you guys had the secret sauce that year? Is it relationships? I know that's kind of an open-ended question, but when you look back at some of your best recruiting classes, what was the reason behind that?
It's funny, some of our best recruiting classes were Dom's recruiting classes, which
Yeah.
is totally cool. Like, great. Like, Dom did a really good job, and Mark Van Arsdale, of leaving us with a pretty stacked cupboard in Ryan Conrad, Dox Aiken, Michael Kraus, Jared Connors, Alex Rode. Did we get some of our own recruits? Sure. Petey LaSala. Um, like Cormier was actually one of theirs. Connor Schellenberger was one of ours. So it's like there was just a big mix there. Um, so I have to thank Dom and staff for that. But, the one thing I will say is, like, the recruiting piece is, like, we just felt like we had to have that little chip on our shoulder while also holding the team that we had to a higher standard. And, whether it be on the field or off the field, or, and then I think they just played a little bit like with a narrowed focus that, like, we're freaking Virginia. Like, we're back. We're going to be back. We're going to figure this out. And they did it. I'd like to say it was all coaching. It wasn't. It was just some guys in the locker room deciding, wow, this is really freaking important to us. Like, let's make this happen. And let's leave no stone unturned. Whereas I think before we got there, I think there was a lot of stones left unturned, to be quite honest. And It was just the building. It was sort of the building of a culture, right? Like, you got to win the huddle. You got to do all these little things to make it really good in a tight knit group. Like, you got to do that. You got to be a team that is all together and wants to win, and that it's so, like, it's not just a saying. It's true. Any championship team I've been on, everybody has one singular narrow mission focus, and you need that. Otherwise, you lose.
How important is it to have the leadership of the players that communicate that to other players, though? Were there times where you guys, because I know your coaching staff has always been strong. I watched you guys at Brown. I enjoyed seeing you guys in the Final Four. I know how strong you guys were, but on the years you probably didn't make that mark, did any of it have to do with the leadership communicating that message of culture?
Maybe some of that, but it's like the buy-in can't just be like the leadership down. It's got to be almost from the opposite direction. It's got to be the bottom up. So, like, the walk-on goalie that knows he's never going to play has to be as bought in as the first team All-American. And if you don't have that, then I don't know if you're going to be successful 100% of the time.
Yeah, keep going.
You just got to have each other's back through and through. That's it's non-negotiable.
I had this question for later in the episode when we got down to the nitty gritty of, coaching goalies and all these things. But you mentioned the bottom of the roster goalie that might not ever see the field. I've got 3 goalies this year on my team, 3 pretty strong goalies for the first time in high school. You really don't see that often. Personally, and this is just my question, how do I go about managing something like that and making sure that, especially in a position like a specialist where, if you only have one guy, you're not running 2 lines, you're not doing all this stuff like you do at the midfield or sometimes on defense. But how do you keep those guys involved? How do you make sure that you give attention to your goalies and specialists that aren't ever going to see the field and keep them engaged?
Well, there's a few ways to do that. One, you have to inform them that their job is to get everybody around them better. Goalies, get the shooters better. Face-off guys, prep the face-off guy that's going against, UNC's number one face-off guy. Like you gotta give us a look. So if you don't give us a good look, like that's hurting us on game day. Like you have to help us to get ready for game day. Competition, clearly it's one of those things that like playing time is important for all these kids, right? College, high school, doesn't matter. You got to earn that playing time, and you earn that playing time by playing well in practice, but also playing well in games. And if there's a competitive spirit, let's say you have three great goalies and two of them stand out and you split time for a little while, and then somebody stands out more than the other, okay, then that guy gets more time. It's just that the idea of competition in high school, you might have to play all three. I get that. But it's just that competition, it's just going to raise the level, right? And in those specialty areas, like, yeah, one guy probably not going to play, or maybe two guys in your case with the goalies. It's really hard, but like you have to have if they're not supporting each other in a positive way, that hurts the team. That hurts the team culture. So it's just like you got to be all on the same page, and you all got to be rowing the same direction.
Yeah, I think there's an old Bill Parcells quote that's basically says something to the effect of, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none, I think is the way it goes. I'm interested when it comes to goalies, where do you stand on that? Being a former, like obviously all pro and just great goalie yourself, do you believe in the split time, goalie situation, or do you think you should go into the season saying, this is my one guy and we're riding with him thick and thin?
I've, I'm a ride or die kind of guy, but we've had situations here where it's like, okay, if the starter plays well in the first half, let's keep him in. If he plays just okay, like why not give a different look? If the competition's really good, but we also have, who practiced great that week. If this number two practiced great and the number one didn't, but he's still the number one, now you're more like ready to pull the plug and go with number two. So it's there's no exact science to it in my opinion, but there's just you got to feel it out, and you got to. I mean, that's why we do a depth chart every Thursday, or when we did that at UVA.
Yeah. I want to work backwards here. Let's talk about the most recent Virginia season. Let's work our way back through your career. Talk to me about the 2025 Virginia season, and I'd love to talk also about those two national championships you guys won back to back. That was awesome run. Let's make our way to that. Like, tell me, about this 2025 Virginia season. You guys obviously got to a point where expectations were getting to a point of like championship or bust, which is great. Like you guys, that means you had success in the past, but obviously didn't get it done last year. Talk to me about those guys and what they're looking like, potentially into the future.
Right. The 2025 season, it was difficult, right? I mean, it was one of those seasons where you're like, dang, like pretty frustrating, mainly because I think we beat Colgate in the opening game, and then I don't know, I honestly don't even remember who we played like right after that, but I remember Richmond and Ohio State losing. Uh, well, turns out both those teams were pretty dang good, better than one thought. And so when you lose those games, it's like people went in, I think, too early in the season to this freak out mode a little
Mm.
bit. Like everybody's like, oh my gosh, like what? Like what happened to us? And like maybe there's a little confidence lacking, which hurts a little bit. A couple key injuries. And then I think it started getting a little bit like um, I don't know, like a little unsure exactly who we were, what we were doing, like, and I think you felt that throughout the team, and then um, there was just like everybody sort of was in a place of like uncertainty, right? and having that uncertainty is a little scary for a team that is supposed to be great and is just doing okay. And then you add in, you leave behind Peyton Cormier, the all-time leading point scorer in Division I lacrosse, and then or a goal scorer in Division I lacrosse, and then the all-time leading points guy at Virginia and Connor Schellenberger is gone. So those are two decently large pieces. But like we're still right there. We're not that far away. We're like playing Duke to a 1-goal game, last game of the season, almost make the playoffs or the ACC tournament. Don't make the ACC tournament. If you're above 500, oh, you got a chance to go. And obviously we didn't make that happen. And it wasn't for a lack of effort, and it never usually is for this type of team. I think it was like you felt like people were trying to do too much because they were unsure of the confidence of the team, the unity, right? So people trying to do too much, and there was probably some frustration involved throughout, but like at the end of the day, it was right there. We weren't that far away, which is crazy. And I think just like having that experience, like Virginia has had a couple bad years in their history, right? Usually in the next couple of years, what happens? A national championship. So I'm just saying, like watch out, because I do think the recruiting class that is a freshman on campus today, their first years, they're great. That is a class that is, I think, pretty impressive. Especially, I think I'm going to predict this. I'm going to say it out loud. I think maybe as close to PD LaSala as it gets with the face-off guy, Griff Meyer. He's impressive. We'll see. He's just a little baby freshman, so I can't put that pressure on him, but that room will be good.
When you have a guy like Pete LaSalle, who I don't know what his percentage rate at the end of his career was, but it was really strong. I went to a lot of UVA games. He dominated. He was a mainstay on the team for so many years. How do you, especially not being a face-off guy yourself, like once they get to like that elite level, how do you push them even beyond that extra 1%, 2%? As a coach, how do you get your most elite players to even a higher level?
Yeah, that's a good question. I thought Petey's one of my favorite people in the world, but he was one of the most hard-headed Long Islander, whatever coach. But we would have it out a little bit,
Okay.
and in a positive way. But I loved Petey. He was a warrior. He battled through so many little nicks and bruises and dings and injuries, and at that high level, especially with a guy like Petey, my job was more to be his therapist than his coach. Just like if somebody's frustrating with a certain move or something's really getting to him, or my wing didn't pick up the ball and he's mad, and I'm like, okay, control the controllables, Petey. It's okay. Like the one that matters is the next one. Don't worry about the last one. Everything is very heightened in those moments in big games when all he wants to do is win. He's a competitive human being, and he knows he has the ability to do it. But like, it's pretty hard to go 100% at the faceoff X. There's interference there, and just things happen. So Petey was very special. I think last year. And ever since we kind of lost Petey, it's been, we've still been above 50% at the faceoff X at Virginia, but we're trying to, Anthony Gabriel, like Henry Metz, Andrew Greenspan, all these guys that have taken meaningful reps for us. It's just like, I'm so used to having one guy, and now it's like by committee a little bit more. And I actually enjoy that because everybody's got their own. You're like just basically
It's like
throwing
chess.
different. Yeah, you're throwing different slider, curveball, fastball, knuckleball. You're throwing everything at people, and it's especially guys that are elite. Like you can muck it up a little bit, and it makes it fun as a coach. I don't know if it's as fun as a player because you're not playing every rep and you don't know what reps you're getting. But if you get hot, you get to be you get to go for a little while.
I'm going to reframe that same question, but more towards your goalie position and the way that you coach even the elite level guys. Nunes comes to mind and things like that, but you guys have had premier goalies for a long time. Do you feel like you can go a little bit further with the goalies on the elite front and give them maybe a 1%, 2% increase in their talent by coaching them a certain way, or is it still kind of, hey, I'm their psychologist, or helping them mentally?
I would say a little bit of both. I think like coaching the face-off guys on their moves is really important, and then coaching the goalies, yeah, between their ears, watching a lot of film with both positions is important. I never try to change a goalie. I've only tried really tweaking. I'm not going to change who they are and how they stand exactly. Like they are who they are. It's just like how can, like you're saying, make them a couple percent better and in their fundamentals. Like some of the shots that come their way are essentially unsavable, and you just kind of have to be like, you have to. It's more about mindset, in my opinion. If a goalie has the right mindset, he has a chance to be great. And it's all about. I mean, people come to college and they just get shell shocked because the speed's so different, and therefore they don't have the careers that they might have ordinarily have had. So the key, one of the keys, in my opinion, is just like, okay, it's going to be a hard first fall. Now you just got to fall back on your fundamentals, fall back on your training that we talk about every day, and then you're going to be okay. And my goal for them is to hopefully be like, okay, don't overdo it. Don't take too many shots that you are not supposed to uncontested. Because in games, yeah, the shots are hard, but they're not usually unreasonable in the 6-on-6 set, right? Whereas like if you're just going to take some step downs all practice long, like that's just not fun, and then you get into really bad habits. So it's just taking those right shots and managing that expectation.
What separates goalies like Nunes, yourself obviously being a phenomenal player, and guys like Entenmann comes to mind? Like, what's the absolute tippity top? What separates them from the middle of the pack?
Mindset, simple. It's just like it. It's like golf. Think about golfers. I love golf personally. Like, what's the difference between the guy that's like winning all these tournaments and all the guys that are not? Mindset. Like, it's just like if you think you will make every save, you at least are setting yourself up for success to have the opportunity to. Whereas a lot of goalies are like, all right, I just want to be above 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you're not. It's literally there's a book called Mind Gym. It's a mind gym in there. You got to work it out. And the guys with the most dominant mental attitudes and the right mindset usually kind of separate themselves a little bit more. I'm interested, like, and in big pressure moments, like we're gonna watch the Ryder Cup's coming up this weekend. I love the Ryder Cup. That it is such a different. It brings out the best and the worst in people, and you love to see it because it's just like there's so much energy in that setting, and these professional golfers, some buckle under the pressure and some just absolutely thrive. And it's so cool to watch because these are the best in the world. And it just reminds me of like being at the Final Four and like being with the fans packed right there. And it's like, 30,000 people or whatever the number is. And it's like, okay, here it is.
Yeah.
You're either going to rise to the occasion or
Yeah.
not.
And in that way, I've always been envious of single sport or single person athletes or not team sport athletes, right? Because they have to go about it a lot of times by themselves. Whereas in a team, you have support literally to your left and your right. I've always been envious of those guys that could have to go out there and get into the octagon, or obviously walk out to the golf course and get it done themselves. I still want to make my way through, your career as a coach and what you've picked up along the way. But since we're on this goalie topic here, I sent you some questions before the show. One of those was, hey, what are you looking for from a trait perspective in goalies, right? The goalies' traits can be all over the place. And then I did want to follow up as well with this whole kind of debate between should your goalie be the QB and communicator, or should he focus on saving the ball and not communicating as much and leaving that to the defense? But just interested in how you're looking at the goalie position. Like, what are your top 3 traits, and what's the number 1 trait out of those 3?
Number 1 trait would be, honestly, it differs with every goalie. Just like number 1 for me is simple. It's like positioning, but do you put yourself in the right position to make every save? Like, are you going to be at least giving yourself a shot, which is, ready position, right angles, just like simple stuff.
That's just footwork as the ball is being exchanged. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and like some goalies like really just like drop their hands right before a shot happens, and like it includes like pre-shot movement. If you have a lot of that, like, which is, I call it a fear response. Everybody's like, it's scary being a goalie. You're not playing dodgeball, you're playing the opposite. You're trying to get yourself in front of a really, really hard moving ball. And like, that's a little nutty. It's like your brain's got to like tell yourself, hey, it's okay. And I think that's really hard. And that's where probably the second piece is mindset. I'm not saying I can tell exactly what the mindset is of the kid on the field, but like, if he doesn't have a lot of that pre-shot movement and a lot of, flop to his back and end up like where the ball doesn't go, like those are things that are concerns for me. Whereas if a goalie's like almost on every shot and, is getting his hands to almost everything and his body behind the ball, like those are the most important characteristics for me. It's really hard to do. And at some point, right, you have to be in some ways fearless and know that you might not even see this ball being shot, but you have to read. It's like tennis players and there's no way a regular human can return a tennis serve going 120 miles an hour. But because of the repetitive tennis serves that they see all the time, they just naturally know where to go. That's how goalie is.
Shoulders and other things you're reading as well.
Shoulders, stick head, eyes, everything. Goalies can do those things because there's no way you can just stop a step down from Connor Schellenberger and just like, and not guess a little bit or anticipate a little bit. You have to read something else besides the ball. Yeah, is your ball the main focus? Sure. But it's those intangibles, like Liam Mentovan does such a good job of, again, he's not the most fundamental guy in the world. People talk about Liam a lot as like the best in the world. I'll tell you what, he's not the most fundamental, but like there's an attitude about him and a mindset that he really thinks he's going to make every save. That's what makes him great. Because it's not fundamental. Like, I don't tell my goalies, oh, go watch Liam. Like, he's got it going on. In some ways he does, because he has elite hand speed and he can catch up with 90-mile-an-hour shots. Like, that's impressive. But he has some flaws. Yeah. But he's one of the best in the world because of how competitive he is and how his mindset is.
It's interesting. I'm having this thought as we talk through this conversation, but a lot of times great defense can make kind of an average goalie look pretty good to great. But Liam it's almost the opposite. Like, you have this effect where a goalie is playing at a certain level, that confidence radiates. Like, the defense plays harder because they just know if they work a little bit harder that this guy's going to 100% make that save. But you don't see that a ton. usually it's the great defense makes the goalie look pretty good.
True. And honestly, Liam in college had a great defense. Made him look
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, you're not
And so
wrong.
maybe he got confidence through that.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's always one of the best defenses in the country, and you know you
Yeah.
can you can jive with that confidence for
Take
sure.
me through the communication piece that I mentioned earlier. If you had your ideal goalie, would he be a huge communicator out there, like barking every other second, or is he the kind of saving the ball and bailing people out when he needs to?
Good question. My the way I frame it with my goalies often is just like you get to dictate the shots that you want to see by your voice. So it's like, okay, what's that mean? Well, if you can communicate to a guy and you can get them to play hard for you and use the inflection of your voice where time sometimes is really important when ball transfers from behind the goal to the front of the goal to yell check, and if they don't hear you, okay, ball gets caught in the front of the goal and it goes in the net. Like, well, that sucks. But that's kind of on you as a goalie too. Or, hey, he's a lefty, force him this way. Like communicating that, now you're going to see shots that you might want to see. Um, I think it's more about those type of communication pieces than where's the ball on the field. Everybody knows where the ball is on the field. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Are you making that call for the left or right hand, like the primary hand, basically on every dodge? Like when a player like looks like he's getting ready to go. Obviously, if he catches it in stride and he's already dodged, it's a little bit weird to call that. But when it's being set up, are you calling that every time or as the ball exchanges around the field? When do you make that call specifically?
Maybe as the ball gets excuse me, up towards the guy that's about to dodge, like you can see who it is and you can tell him, okay, he's all left. Make him go to his right hand. And honestly, I want him to hear that. The Dodger. Now he's gonna be like, oh man, he's right. That sucks for me.
Yeah.
And it's just like it can take them out of their element of what they're doing. And so I don't know. There's just good energy about it. Like goalies should provide positive energy and communication before, after, and during play. And so that's the goalie's job is to rally the team to get behind him in a lot of ways. But it's not the goalie's job to call every slide and do everything. It's just the goalie's job to how can you make the life easier for the defense? That's my thoughts.
How much zone defense are you liking as a goalie? Do you appreciate it? Is it something that you wish you saw more? Or I'm interested in how the life of a goalie when it comes to zone defense.
Um, I didn't love it. I always thought you can get more uncontested shots and more screen shots out of zone. However, I think a mix of it every now and then is just going to throw teams off. Like as a coach, I like it. The problem with zone defense is people can beat you by not beating you. If you feel out athletically matched, okay, maybe go zone, or maybe mix in a lot of zone. That's kind of my 2 cents on it. I don't love it because guys can just have their hands free and pick apart things, and offensive coaches are just really good at picking apart
Yeah.
zone defenses at this point, at this stage. But there's teams that do it really well, and it's all about comfortability of what's your identity, who you are. But I think you see it a decent amount, especially with the shot clock, because all you have to do is,
Yeah.
take X amount of time off.
I think I went to the Q's game last year at UVA, and I think they mixed in some late in the game. It was like 5 minutes left, and they mixed in some zone that gave you guys some issues with it.
Yeah, and John loves doing that. He's the defensive coordinator
Yeah.
there. He loves throwing some zone in. He's prepared with it every game, and he's great. He's a really good coach, and that's what that does. It like catches all of a sudden you're dodging, you're running your offense, you're really comfortable, and then all of a sudden, bam, somebody throws a zone in at you. Now it's like, okay, we have to shift gears and do something completely different.
All right, I want to switch a little bit of gears. We got about, I would say, 10 minutes left in the conversation. As far as that back-to-back win with Virginia, I know we could do a whole podcast on it, but any tidbits or behind-the-scenes stuff that went on that year that you could kind of talk about, and just some nuggets that people might be able to take from those two championship winning years?
Huh. Well, 19, it just felt, it's like we won in basketball in 19 at Virginia, and you just kind of felt this weird momentum. And we just kept winning and coming back in these close games, like Syracuse in the Dome. Like I think we played Notre Dame and 1 goal game win, and we just kept like, you don't know how you're doing it, but you win these overtime games. And you keep winning these, and you keep winning these games. You're like, wow, okay. Like, just builds a little confidence, and I don't know, you ride into the tournament like let's be honest, like, should we have beaten Maryland? I don't know. We did. We were down a couple with 5 minutes to play or 3 minutes to play. And, you know, there's just guys that refuse to lose, that refuse to give up. And we never thought we were out of it because we've come back so much during that season. We just kept fighting. I mean, Duke had a clearing pass attempt to ice the game against us in the Final Four. And luckily they didn't complete it. And we go back and we score. But I mean, it's just like, in some ways that one felt lucky.
Like the margins went in your favor.
Yeah, like what is it, like the like Amazon like percentage to win, or like percentage on the catch for Thursday Night Football or whatever it is, like that type of stuff, like that went our way. Like we probably had really low percentages at certain points, and bam, we win. Like a lot of the time in that season, which was really cool, really lucky. But we had dudes that were just like all in, and they believed. Literally, that was like a slogan for that year, was kind of like, we believe. I know that it's like crazy, but we're just gonna believe that we can do it, and believing is a strong thing sometimes. And got us a
How
national championship.
how did 21 differ from 19? The makeup.
21, yeah, 21. Gosh, like that one, honestly, it was like a little bit more of like this blur to me. I remember the championship game like very, very, very like vividly, based on what happened at the end. Like this comeback, it was all like, it felt very scattered and like messy, but we just ended up just like, stay in the fight, stay in the fight, stay in the fight, and we stayed in the fight and we won. Carolina has the ball, to tie it with like less than 20 seconds left in the semifinals. It's like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen? And we were just, in those 2 seasons, I felt like we were the more aggressive team and we dictated play. And if you can have a group that's willing to buy in and do that type of stuff, like it's big. And it's kind of it's one of those things, like the buy-in is huge, but like just being the aggressor and putting teams on their heels is like something I felt in 2019 and 2021 that we really did a really good job of. And that differentiated ourselves from some of the other teams
It
in the
always felt
Division
like
One at that time.
it felt like you guys, when watching you and hearing the announcers and just all that, like there was an element of like creativeness and, I don't know, uniqueness about Virginia when they were winning than any other program. It was like the way you guys went about it. It almost reminded me of the Brown run when you guys were, taking Brown to heights they really hadn't seen for a long time. Like there was a style, you know what I mean? People got behind it.
Right. And it was buy-in and there was some coaching involved, but it was like a lot of it was Sean taking his tough style to Brown and then Brown to Virginia. But you can't just run it. You have to have the pieces in place that can run it well. And during the years that we were really good, when we were at Brown, we had a face-off guy, a first-team All-American goalie, face-off guy that was second-team All-American, 2 All-American poles with a backup third. We double pulled every face-off. Those poles could play offense better than half of our offensive guys. And then you have Dylan Malloy and Kyler Balestri and Henry Blinn that are goal scorers. So recipe, success. Like, we weren't the most talented all over the field, but we had the pieces. And then you go to Virginia, you got the Ryan Conrads of the world playing defense to offense a lot of the time. You have the Jared Connors, one of the best poles I've ever seen defensively. And you got Petey LaSala and Alex Rode, who showed up when it mattered. So like add that all together.
Yeah.
And again, we had the pieces that were special, that were elite. And it wasn't perfect all the time. We'd still go through the scoring droughts and like people would really focus on defending our transition game. But then we would just attack in all phases. Transition, we called it early offense, when we would trap their guys, and we would play a lot of 5v5 and do a lot of different things that people were really uncomfortable with. That was what the goal was, and we were good at it.
I have to say, Jack Kelly's like one of my all-time favorite goalies just to watch, man. He was amazing. I wish we had more time to talk about him. When you're talking about this transition, how do you go about, like, what are the key points that you're making as a coach when you're first installing this stuff to get a team to play a little bit faster? Like, are you talking about your goalie on a certain thing with the outlets? Trying to get down to like nitty gritty on any of this stuff that you're coaching guys as you install it.
I mean, I think that comes with the territory. Like I would coach the goalies on their outlets anyway. Like, hey, if you see it, take it. But it's much bigger than that, in my opinion. It's like a mentality. It's a team mentality. Like sometimes you could think of it as like first 3 over, you're playing offense, go. Like from defense, you're going, and hopefully we don't go offsides. Just play out that transition period, and I think there's a lot of concepts, but also having like a lot of freedom within those concepts is really important. When we were really good, it was a lot of, just put, again, like I said, it's just more of like a mentality than schemes. Schemes were fine. It wasn't complicated because the defensive personnel had to know it. So we couldn't overcomplicate it. But it was just sort of like you rep it with drills over and over and over in practice, and they get it. And it's just kind of like, okay, it just flows, and there's an understanding of it. And some teams are really good at it, and some teams are okay at it.
Yeah.
And last year's team they were okay. They were okay at it. We got a lot of goals in those realms of playing in that like transition 5v5. Yeah, we did okay there. We didn't do it as much last year, but it's different when you have a guy like Petey LaSala who can dodge. So it's just different.
Would you rather have a great face-off guy or a great goalie?
Wow. I think I can manufacture a great face-off guy. I don't think I can manufacture a great goalie.
Okay. Manufacture.
So
Go ahead.
I'll take great goalie then.
Interesting. So would you manufacture that great face-off guy through a couple different guys and what you were talking about earlier, where you have?
It's kind of what we've done in the last couple of years. Like, yeah, I think I would take that,
Okay.
and that personally.
All right. Great answer.
The ball is important though. But no,
I, I,
I think I would take the face-off guy, or I would take the goalie over
I
the
think
face-off
I
guy.
think I'm with you. Coaching defense myself. I think I'm with you until I feel like that answer would be okay until the whistle and the game starts, and then you have the ball 20% of the time, and you're like, shit, I should have chose the face-off guy.
Well, you didn't say I had a terrible face-off guy.
That's fair. It didn't set the groundwork. Hey, last question, man, before you get out of here, Kip. And you've been a great guest. I appreciate you coming on. I definitely would love to have you on again at some time. PLL. You obviously were a great, MLL player. You won with the Bayhawks multiple times, I believe. What do you think of the product now? What they're putting out there?
Yeah, I think it's great. It grows the game. People are really interested in it. I think it's fun. Obviously, it's not the exact game that we're playing. I wish there was a like ice hockey where everything was a little more congruent throughout and seamless. Like it's the same in high school, college, pros. I mean, international might be slightly different, but that's the only thing I would like to see. It be the same.
Do you think
Sort
that
of.
will make a switch down the road? Do you think?
I don't know. I'm very much not in control of that, but I would like to see. I don't know. I mean, maybe a 2-point arc, maybe not in college, but I think the shot clock in both is great. I think there needs to be a shot clock in international, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But I do think the shot clock's a little short in the PLL, but I get it for TV and what they're trying to do there, and I understand. But again, it makes for sometimes bad lacrosse to happen, which isn't the best. Like I want to see the best lacrosse on display. But with the shot clock being so short, the players just have to make plays.
Just go.
It's not,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So,
interesting. Yeah, maybe 6, 8, 12 seconds longer would allow for some strategy as opposed to just go. That's a good point. Hey, Kip, this has been a great discussion, man. I feel like we didn't get into half of the topics that I wanted to, but we're allotted for an hour, so we need to honor that, and we'll just have to do a second episode, man. I appreciate you very much.
yeah, I appreciate you, Zach. Thanks for having me on. That was really fun, and we can do it again sometime.